The one that concerns us today is, my people perish for lack of knowledge.
AKA, for those on the street, for the Gen Zs who I represent, ignorance is cooking my people.
It's you I'm talking to. And I'm saying many of you perish, get cooked in these streets.
In the streets.
Because of things you don't know.
So if you're ignorant in the area of marriage,
you're gonna get cooked.
Like chicken, barbecue chicken.
If you're ignorant in business,
you're
gonna get cooked.
If you're ignorant as a creative,
you're gonna get cooked.
Applies even as a preacher, as a pastor, as someone who God has called.
They will cook you.
You will still be cooked.
Hello guys, it's your favorite boy Angelo. How you doing? What's good? What's good? What's good?
And it's your boy J to the KO to the CH. I feel like a rapper. You know what I'm saying? It's a J to the K to the O to the C to the H. Come on.
Yeah, that's too old for this dude.
Bruh, I ain't old nothing.
Welcome back. If it's your second time, and welcome if it's your first time to the TurnUp Culture Podcast. Here, we discuss the intersection of spirituality, creativity, life, culture, and industry.
Hot takes.
Hot takes only.
Hot takes only.
We are your friendly neighborhood comrades.
Yeah, that's a good one. I think that should be the tag of this podcast. Your friendly neighborhood comrades. Comrades but friendly.
We've been having a lot of conversation behind before the camera came on because there are so many
that's our lifestyle.
And so many things being said that cannot afford to go on air. So we'll try to bring the censored version on air. Sure. And what we want to discuss is kind of two-folded in a way, but it's the approach we're going to take that might be different. In the sense of the real heart of what we're trying to discuss today is the kingdom economy.
Yeah.
I don't even want to see it. I even think it's economy.
Economy, actually, but let's just make it kingdom because the community.
We are kingdom people, right? So it's kingdom economy.
The case study.
A case study.
It's kingdom.
Yes.
Case study.
The case study is the scope is kingdom.
Yeah, scope.
Right. And basically the idea is like how as kingdom agenda driven people, what's the economy, what's the ecosystem for sustainability and being able to replicate, build and replicate like, systems.
Yes.
Systems, resources.
Like, do we even have?
Do we have one? Should we have one? How do we have one if we should have one?
Is it necessary?
Is it necessary? And the backbone of our approach today is there's a powerful scripture in the Bible. We quote it a lot, but I don't think we think about it. Like there are so many verses in the Bible that are very dangerous. If we thought about it deeply, then we quoted them.
They are just one line. Mostly.
And they are one lines. The one that concerns us today is, my people perish for lack of knowledge.
AKA, for those on the street, for the Gen Zs who I represent, ignorance is cooking my people.
and if just to hold it down, like this statement says, my people. This was God speaking.
Yeah.
This is God speaking. He says, my people. So he's not talking about people that are unbelievers.
Nope.
He's not talking about people that don't send him.
Nope.
He's not talking about people that are not surrendered to him. He's saying, whatever you think makes you my people is you I'm talking to. And I'm saying many of you perish, get cooked in these streets. Because of things you don't know.
And most times when we hear that, I mean, I grew up in the church all my life. And it's always towards, the reading of the Bible, which is very necessary.
First and foremost, yes.
Study of the word, attending, fellowship and stuff like learning. That's what we consider. That's where we think the knowledge, the scope of knowledge stops.
Is that's not the only.
That's not the only place because there's marriage. So if you are ignorant in the area of marriage,
you're gonna get cooked
like chicken. Barbecue chicken.
If you're ignorant in business,
you're
gonna get cooked.
If you're ignorant as a creative,
you're gonna get cooked.
Applies even as a preacher, as a pastor, as someone who God has called.
They will cook you.
You will still be cooked. So it's like beyond just beyond just the not spiritual, what we quote in quote, and why I'm saying spiritual knowledge, because spiritual knowledge covers, because we've just narrowed it down. If not,
spiritual
it's broad.
Knowledge is spiritual is anything that's not physically
broad,
tangible.
Yes.
So ideas too are also spiritual.
Exactly, and the Bible touches on different topics. I mean, you see Apostle Paul touching on topics. You see Jesus using examples and talking of business and things like that. But we've decided to become more spiritual, more spiritual than the Savior. And one of the areas that this has affected the most, which is what we're talking today, is in the economic aspect of the kingdom.
Economics.
And then we're narrowing it down to the creative space.
Because
like if you listen to the last podcast, we started touching up on this. And one of the focus areas will be like, for instance, which Angeloh kind of did justice to it in that last in the last episode, which was like, we as a people look at these industries, animation, you have a problem with Coco Melon, you have a problem with Disney, they have gay characters now, they have this now, you have a problem with the Grammys, like every other thing, you have a problem with them, and you're always,
tweeting.
You're always tweeting. Now, when, like, let's just take this. You meet them, you meet people complaining, and you're like, okay, you must be very passionate about this industry. And then they call you to a table and say, okay, this is what we're trying to do. This is how we're trying to achieve this. And then the same people will turn and then say, no, you are not a Christian. Christian creatives are not supposed to engage this space. Christian creatives are not supposed to make this a career. Christian creatives are not supposed to fund. In fact, we are not supposed. The church as a whole is not supposed to fund this, and we as individuals should not
encourage
such. Then you get confused. Like, there's this translation, right? Is it what did you bring? What did you carry? Like, what's happening here? What are we saying? What are you saying? I thought you understood how it works. There's a reason why there's something called Hollywood. It's an industry. Here in Nigeria, we live in Nigeria. There's something called Nollywood. It's an industry. The reason why they are able to churn out movies, whether you have a problem with the agenda, it's not first an agenda. If you're talking agenda, you're still ignorant. That's what this podcast is about, right? It's ignorance. There's a reason. There's something that's been put in place. It's because it's an economic system. If you go into the old biblical empires and the rest, the reason why some of those empires and some of those nations were able to influence the world the way, like the Persian, there was an economic angle to it. You conquer people, you take their funds, resources, money, this, that, and then you can expand more because war is expensive.
War is expensive.
They know you get there's no non-profit war. There's nothing like that. There's no non-profit war. Every war, once you go into war, you're going to be buying like food, resources. It's expensive. And now we are going to war. Oh God. We are going to war.
It's a war for your mind space. It's a war for your children. I love Selman was the first person to point this out to Apostle Selman.
Yeah.
Where it was funny. Moses was saying, let my people go so they can worship me.
Yeah.
And the guy's best idea was to double their work.
You have to go there.
Keep them suffering so they don't even have room.
Yes.
Oh, you have time.
The best way to stop them from
serving God or serving God's agenda is to keep you crippled in the hamster wheel of struggle, survival mode.
So at the end of the day, it still comes back.
So if you bring it back to the average Christian creative, who is our TA?
Yeah, direct TA.
The fastest way that the devil
can stop you.
Remember, the devil spoke through Peter.
Yeah.
He can speak through your pastor. He can speak through your church members. He can speak through Christians.
And the person can just I mean, Peter was just done delivering a very powerful message.
The person can also, like the devil can speak through, and we know this because Jesus literally said, "Get thee behind me,
I'm telling you,
Satan."
It's very important.
Why do I say this? Because every time, if a group of people were supposed to pursue God's agenda,
yeah.
Because if what when they say so they can worship me,
yes.
Let's even break it down. What were they supposed to go and do? They were supposed to go to a land that God promised them. They will worship. They will establish. Oh wait, are those things also worship?
Oh no, worship. Why? They are supposed to just stay in the temple, to dwell in the temple.
Discuss
forever.
Another. Because he said, "Let my people go so they can worship me."
Yeah.
But that's
at the end of the day,
when of things they were supposed to be doing.
When they went to Canaan, what were they doing?
Okay, maybe that's a discussion.
No, we'll
for
get
another
there.
day.
No, we'll get there.
But
here,
what was the one thing? So let's bring it down to everyday life now.
Yeah,
you're in a struggle. You're a creative. You know in your heart what God is calling you to do.
Yeah.
We all know what God is calling us to do. But you're caught in a hamster wheel because for most of us, most of you, there are a million and one other things you have to do just to get by.
Just like,
and like Coach was saying, we're not just also shining light in a vacuum. We're not shining light in a bright room.
No.
We're in a very, very dark world that needs the light.
Solid.
And this dark light, their national grid is always down. And you're bringing part-time light. Part-time broke light.
No touch light.
It's not even floodlight.
No, you are bringing rechargeable. Something that
that is matches. It's matches because it's
something
that it's spark and just go fizzle out.
Actually, it's matches.
You want to use matches to remove perpetual darkness, right?
To lead a nation.
And what does it sound like when, I mean, looking at that same thing. If Pharaoh is saying, let's double their work.
Yeah.
Break their back so hard. They cannot even see road clearly. It's because they can see small road. That's why you can even think of creative ways to serve your God. Oh, okay, you're creative, right? You want to serve God.
You go see.
Okay, you don't want to twerk for us. All right, no.
You're going to see. You're going to learn.
So what does that sound like today? It sounds like not being able to find a space to express your God-given gifts and the God-given message you have. And just in case it sounds like we're just bashing ourselves because we're the church. I'm not going to say we're the church. We are here. There's also the other side of it too, because the less economic power you have in these streets, if, for example, where I was yesterday, somebody was saying how a certain president that is supposedly our president owns, allegedly, majority of the media stations in the country or has controlling stakes. And if it does, well, it kind of makes sense. If you do, just imagine anybody that has, whoever has the media in their pocket,
of course you
can push agenda and propaganda.
Definitely.
Easy.
That's the fastest.
So the whole nation can be shouting, we didn't vote so and so. But you can use propaganda to tell the world that the people voted me. And it's game over, right? So why am I saying this? I'm saying this now because on the back end, we put up events. We work with people that put up events. We put out music. We work with people that put out music. There are so many Christian mainstream ideas that we are part of on the back end. And in many cases, we've walked into spaces where as literally as people will not even give you a venue simply because you're doing a Christian event.
Yes, and the
funny part, it's not even like this Christian event is supposed to be like one kind miracle service.
No. Like
it's supposed to be fun, youth, urban, open stuff. But then again, I think it's even more dangerous because they are also aware of how dangerous this format is. Because let's face it. Let's even face it. Let me now ask a question. This is just if I'm able to, so I remember back then, we used to have some arguments about, maybe if a Christian creative would be on, if I, for example, was like be on maybe Nigeria,
Big Brother Nigeria,
or get an endorsement. But I'm like, how is that going to work out? Every weekend, they literally want the people to come out, put on maybe a betting company's outfit or an alcoholic brand's outfit. And I'm like, you realize that when I succeed at what I'm doing, there are certain industries that will lose. See, let's face it.
But I want you to stay on this. There's a way you usually say that.
This economy is a very serious thing. If our agenda as believers to take over the mind space of a generation, to enthrone Christ as King of Kings and Lord of all, works out, there are a bucket load of industries that will be wiped off the grid because there'll be no market again.
Clean.
If all of us stop being addicts, pornography will cease to have a market. Alcohol brands will have no market. Nightclubs will have no market. Vaping and weed and some other. There are so many industries, multi-billion-dollar industries
have existed for years.
Because those are the ones that spend the most money.
No, they know what they're doing. I mean, they know what they're doing.
If you go to anybody, you want to do an event, the people, the beverage brands that sponsor more alcoholic brands. Alcoholic brands sponsor more than family brands.
The tobacco brands were the ones sponsoring the tours around Nigeria.
Music tours. And they still say smoke responsibly.
No, definitely. It's on the CD.
See, if you realize this, that this is all an economic thing. So I'll now ask you that is shouting heavily at the Christian creatives to not find a way to systemize a profitable ecosystem. Mm-hmm. I'm not asking you, whose voice do you really think you are helping?
You're actually helping the devil achieve his agenda because it's self-sabotage.
It's self-sabotage.
You're self-sabotaging yourself.
What we are trying to do, if Great Man Take It becomes the next Davido.
Bro. There's going
at
to be
that level, you know how many clubs will lose customers. You know how
straight
many.
Up.
Like, do you understand?
There ain't no Swifting. Like, you don't get. There are brands that are just going to lose influence.
Are getting cooked because of ignorance.
So you don't know the and most times it's because we don't it's the ignorance. That's why we're saying
we don't
it's
know
an
the
ignorance problem.
We don't know
the game we're playing. We don't know the
ground they are fighting it at.
We don't know the rules of the game.
We don't know the weapons.
We don't know the weapons they are using. We don't know nothing. We're just caught up in between there with our opinions and tweeting. Yes, I said it. Out there, tweeting, condemning, attacking, pulling down anyone that you think is doing something because you feel like you are fighting the gods. You are like a crusader. Meanwhile, you are helping the devil. Because the moment we turn this thing, so we're fighting, there was something I wanted to say. We're actually in, like it's what they used to call this thing?
Two-sided.
International, these trade wars. We're actually involved in trade wars.
Proper trade wars, actually.
It's trade wars.
Is for you to think, if you think spirituality is only, which is why I don't like how we define spirituality.
That's why I say that
if you understood that spirituality is all encompassing,
it's not
like there are economic aspects. All of us, we say it, we crack it as joke now. There are some kind of prayer points. Every Nigerian stops praying the moment he lands in Canada.
Nigerians in diaspora.
So I will ask you a question.
Yes, exactly.
Let me now ask you a question. If somebody decides that, because based on the reports we have, everybody knows that once the average Nigerian sees small breathing space, it takes over the world.
No, we are very.
So I will now ask you. Then let's even face it too. As far as religion is concerned, Nigeria right now, prophetically and actively, is positioned to be one of the biggest exporters. We are the biggest exporters of faith.
We are actually the biggest exporters of faith in the world. Biggest churches,
economically speaking and financially speaking.
An agenda.
I'm even speaking more broadly now.
Okay.
Spiritually, as per kingdom of heaven. Then economically, as per humanity level.
Humanity level.
What do you think is the best thing the devil should do to cripple people with this kind of fighting power?
He brings out the Pharaoh, I have to call it something. They used to use Pharaoh's law. We call it I'll call it the Pharaoh law. He brings it out. Increase their labor, make them suffer, and discourage them.
That's the average Nigerian.
Simple.
So as a Nigerian, this is the
all this revival reality we have been praying for.
Is an economy. See,
by the time you get the people too busy, who will be praying for? Who wants to come and pray
for revival for the country to be set free now?
Someone has not eaten. The power grid is down. The person is paying fuel for 500-700 and something.
Or 500 for
guy was revived with that. He's trying to be revived.
He's trying to be. So does that not look like a pharaoh to you?
Revive. So there's something happening and we're not seeing it. So it's an ignorance problem. And every time we come into those conversations, because we're not seeing it from that perspective, people are coming with guns and knives and everything. And they are trying to explain, calm down. This is not you versus Giz Baba, you versus Limo, Great Man. This is you don't get it. We are on the same side.
We're on the same side, but there's something we're seeing.
You are just not seeing it because now sponsor this person and see what happens on the other side, which takes me to the point of, like I mentioned in the last podcast, which is the value system problem. So where this thing came from, like we did a study. A lot of we're not going to talk about this too much here, but there was a time where we were researching on prosperity. As fast, like when this topic started, I'm talking a couple of years ago, and we started listening to some Jewish rabbi because we asked ourselves, if in context, let's even understand the culture of the people. Yes, the people that God gave this thing first. What was their culture like? What's their economic system like? Like if you tell someone in that culture you prosper,
what does it mean?
What does it mean to the person? How does the person think it's going to happen? Is the person going to be expecting a miracle?
Sowed in the land and reaped 100-fold. Was it seed he sowed in church? Or did he go and do business? Exactly happened?
What happens there? Right? So we did this study.
What was sown, what was reaped? How? And we know that God blessed it.
Yes.
So what was the inner workings?
Yes, what happened? How did he bless it?
They will say, sorry, when Abraham increased in cattle and land.
Yes.
What was the day-to-day activity that was happening that God was blessing to?
And there's a hashtag, somebody on Twitter, there are people on Twitter who are literally saying that thing was not like that. Like people make the blessings materialistic. And I'm saying,
my brother,
Abraham's servant talking to Laban. Isaac's servant talking to Laban. He says, my master.
That was a wedding conversation. Let me put it this way. These are traditional Jewish people.
Yes.
Somebody is showing up at your doorstep.
Yes.
You are a senior man.
Yes.
A random boy comes to your doorstep, a senior man of his own right, and he's trying to tell you, my master sent me. His son is looking for a wife. He wants to marry the finest girl you have in your house as your daughter. So as an African person, just think, what are the criteria you're looking out for? Can he take care of my child?
Yeah.
What should we say to defend that?
So you say the Lord has blessed my master.
I blessed my master.
And every,
he has cattle. He has, those were the economic metrics of the day.
He was listing it to Laban.
It was a rollout.
It was a rollout like this one. And he said the Lord, he started the statement with the Lord has blessed. And then he started listing things. So now we did that study. And some of the rabbis, some of the rabbis, we listened to them, especially on prosperity. And one of them said something that was so profound. He gave an example. And he said when it comes to their community, how they approach prosperity is different from how Christian. He mentioned it. He said how this modern day Christianity he says it's different.
Very different.
He says for them, they see prosperity as God's value system.
No, that's how
God's sustenance system for the community. So they see prosperity, they see economy as a way to keep the community going. So it's like the day we stop being prosperous, that's the day this thing stops existing. That's their perspective. So they see that every individual within that community has to contribute. Then they now see that it's also their responsibility to make sure that everyone within that community is thriving. So
what's the most common
sustainable way? What's the most common sustainable way to keep us going?
Can I interject?
Yeah.
Sorry, because I can't remember. Why am I forgetting his name now? A brother of mine, he comes on Instagram like 2-3 nights ago.
Yeah.
And he's almost crying about how harsh the economy in Nigeria has become. And like because this is where like every well-meaning person that is probably middle class-ish and above in Nigeria would say when they're in that point is, anybody who has, please, right now is a season to invest a lot in generosity. Yeah. Try and look for a family you can take on.
Yeah, that support,
which is great.
2020 we've been
it's a great thing. It's a very serious thing to be done. So this is not even like to throw shade, but in a sense where how so because one of the I wasn't like, I'm saying you also have to remember too that as many people who are supposed to be in this position to help, their lifestyle has also been crept on. So they're even struggling to sustain what they currently even have.
To taking on another person.
To even try to, like what they were supposed to be the quota to take on somebody.
Yes.
And then, this is why 2 Corinthians 9, 8, 9. I mean, like, God is able to bless you so that having more than you need, you will abound to others in generosity on every occasion.
Yeah.
So now I'm thinking to myself,
on every occasion.
First of all, now with the way things choke, how many givings can I really give?
On this occasion.
But the average Jewish person is thinking about if all of us find a way that we have value that everybody needs.
Yeah.
There's a normal way that wealth is supposed to flow.
We can just keep ourselves.
We are not supposed to be charity cases.
Yes, so that's what I'm saying.
The church is not supposed to be
let me
charity
add it. No,
case.
let me add it. Let me just add that point now that
I wanted you to finish that.
God's business, because there's an ideology that God's business, that God's system. You know how they say people are communists, people are capitalists. I've heard some people say Jesus is capitalist and socialist and all that sort of thing. Well, I don't know which one. It's none of my business, and I'm not trying to postulate anything like that. But I'm saying God's system is not a non-profit system.
It's not a non-profit
That's the first thing
system.
that those Jewish rabbis established, that God takes pride in his people profiting, and Jesus used that example. So they understood that context of the talent.
I wanted to go somewhere. So when Paul is speaking, this is Paul. So you cannot say I'm doing Old Testament. So we have gone from Abraham, now we're going to Paul. Paul is saying, let the thief no longer steal, but get a job so they can work enough to take care of themselves and have to give.
Yes.
So if in the New Testament we are being encouraged for people to work, it means economics is a very fundamental part of the prosperity plan for God.
As long as you have something in your house to sell in their community,
in your house to sell,
you will be prosperous. So now,
we have things we can sell and we are told you can't sell.
Yes. So now we come to a space where as long as you have something to sell in that community, you will be eating. And then you are not just selling. So it's not just how do I describe it? It's not just if you look through the Bible. I don't like that we even have to explain this thing you're about to explain. I hate that you have to explain it. It's not, I don't know.
No. I hate, I say I hate that you have to explain it. I think I know where you're going to with this. Why are you trying to explain that a person should be able to earn an income? Why do I have to explain it? Why do you work a 9 to 5 going to a job you hate?
No. So this is where I'm coming to. So because we now come to, let's narrow it down to our real context, right? Creatives in the church are now told by prophets.
A prophet went to a woman and gave her a business out of what she had
and multiplied it.
Our prophets go to people and tell them throw away your
shut
oil.
Down and throw away your oil.
Give it to me.
Give your oil to me. Oh, madam, I'm looking.
God will give it back to you.
Egbami. So we're coming to a space where we now wonder why we don't have a system. So you keep hearing kingdom economy as it relates to creatives.
We don't even have enough to give.
So we've not made it, and now we've not made it profitable. Because it's not profitable, no one is investing in it.
No one is investing in it. So you can't even gather vessels.
So you can't gather vessels because no one is investing in it.
Why am I giving you vessels? If I give you vessels, so maybe she rented the vessel.
I think
maybe she rented the vessel.
Maybe. Just maybe. So we come to a system where we're trying to force down a not-for-profit, a non-profit mindset on creatives.
A Levitical you're trying to force down a Levitical
system
on the rest of the 12 tribes of Israel.
And you're calling it kingdom economy. It's not going to work. It can't work.
Was only for Levites.
It can't work. So we now start, we're saying that people should not make it a business or whatever. We are scared. The moment you mention, it's so people will now start singing. So the excuse is usually, so people will now start singing because they want to make money. Hey, the woman selling food down your street.
Is because
let me ask this question. She's selling because she wants to make money.
Are you not?
But when you are eating the food and you not being satisfied, what are you saying now?
Your belly because she's
for
money.
Does making money
mean the clothes on your body reduce from your beauty because they sold it for money?
I don't understand.
Since when did value and money become a problem?
A problem. So it takes us back to the fact that because we don't understand value systems, hence we are also now, which now makes me ask this question. Are you sure we are even being valuable to the society?
No, that's why they can't even afford to kick us out, because we don't actually, every time we show up, we want to shut the world down.
It's free, this,
free that,
shut down, shut this down,
no progress, no improvement.
So how are we going to
nothing? How is the world supposed to move forward?
Because we had problems. We're in a part of we're in a part of the world where the problem our leaders have is they are not able to create value from what we have.
I mean, for Nigeria, this is next level because it's both a spiritual, religious, and national problem.
We have resources.
We don't know how to convert.
We don't know how to convert nothing as a people.
We only have individuals doing it, but it's not a national corporate people, identity.
We can't do it. There are nations that are thriving on tourism alone. So now...
No, our best idea was to break it down.
No.
Then come back and say that there's underwater.
You want to go there? So now we're coming to a system where the church is leaving money on the table. There's like Christians are leaving money on the table because we don't want to be because we don't want to develop we don't want value system
we don't want to displease, we don't want to fall out with God.
With God.
Yes.
The same God that was in the Bible.
That is not the issue that you need to ask this question. Is it the same God?
Now here's that man now said that the Christians,
the Pentecostal format, and what the Jewish
are practicing, if it's the same book.
It's not the same. It's the same book we're reading. But
so let me even finish one of the analogies he gave, and then he now says that this is how they keep the place sustained. If I sell stoves, and then you cook, and then a couple of the guys in here do something related, I will sell my stove to you to help you cook the food that I will in turn buy from you.
With the money I got from selling you stove.
Money I got from selling you stove. And the money will still come back to me. And then the other guys who are supplying, so the supply chain, so that's what you call an ecosystem. So what they build is an ecosystem. So your business cannot go out, which is what the Western countries understand, right? Hence, there are some companies that will declare bankrupt, and they'll say, "Oh, we're bankrupt," right? And then the government will now come and fund them because the government cannot afford to allow that business to go down because of the effect of that gap on their economy. The people who are going to become jobless.
I mean, that's why we're subsidizing fuel at some point now. It has to be accessible. If it's not accessible, nobody can buy it. Then the company shut down. But we all need fuel. We go trek.
So the people who now need jobs, families will suffer. So because they're able to understand this, so now you look at a creative. Let's just bring a creative now. Angeloh is a creative.
I love that you're this because I even wanted to bring it in a context. You're a caterer. I have a wedding of my beautiful daughter in the future.
Yeah.
In this wedding, we cannot do silent wedding.
No.
I need a brother or sister to come and sing at the wedding.
Yes. DJ Offrey.
And I need DJ Offrey
to come on.
So now, I pay the caterer so that the caterer can provide food for our wedding.
Yes.
So that we can eat at the wedding and not faint.
Yes.
I pay the music artist so that he too can go home and feed his own family.
Yes.
And send them to school.
And train his daughter.
Maybe even purchase from the caterer too when he's doing his own celebration.
Now he will definitely.
Because he will do his own
celebration.
And the money I have to even do this wedding now is because I offered value elsewhere.
Yes.
And I was paid for that value.
Everybody goes home happy.
Everybody goes home. So I think...
And then we now have a sustainable ecosystem.
Is it that the body of Christ has a greed problem?
No, it's an ignorance problem.
Okay, it's ignorance.
And then I don't think it's greed.
Is greed aversion?
Is it
covered in is ignorance?
How can you be scared of greed?
How can you be I'm trying to make it make sense to me.
How can you be scared of greed? It's the Holy Spirit not in you.
Because I'm asking myself,
greed is not a fruit of the Spirit.
Okay. So for example, let's make it open. if you don't pay the creatives for their work, how are they going to pay the teacher who is also a member of your church?
How are they going to take their kids
to school
to the
and
church
pay school fees? Let's say the church. Let's even say the church. Let me not do that. So let's not open an can of worms. Because church can open school, but that's not a problem. But
no, I don't. I mean, most of the schools. Okay, no, I'm not.
So let's just say, but your church members also are teachers.
Yes.
Who need to get paid
and
by the school.
And their own restaurants, fashion designers.
So now you didn't pay the music guy. He can't send his children to school. The school doesn't get school fees money. They can't pay the teachers. No. The teachers don't have tithes to give back to
and then his children end up not
being educated. Then his children end up being uneducated. So then, now there's now face.
And then the society now has to deal with
a miscreant, uneducated, potential miscreant. Who now
falls under the statistics of it becomes a number in the system.
Then the church will also be blamed for being only religious and not actually supporting or helping the industry or helping culture or society. And church says government will now start doing blame game. Can you it's
so
just
it goes on. So it's being able to see once you start seeing with that eye. Hence, someone asked us a question on one platform and was like, "Why should Christian creatives get paid?" And my answer was very simple. If you value what they bring to the system, your payment or the money you are giving to them, it doesn't have to be a bill. It can be honorarium, whatever you call it.
Whatever you call it.
Whatever you just call it something.
Just give them.
Whatever value. You are giving to them is helping them
to keep on doing that thing that you say you love.
Yes.
So for every time you came out,
yes.
Oh, Angeloh, I love your music. Well, buying the music or buying tickets helps me to record and pay. So now guess what? For every song that comes out, there's a producer that has to be paid so he can take care of his family. There's a mixing engineer that has to be paid. There's a videographer that has to be paid. There's a photographer that has to be paid. You see, I've not gone far.
No.
There's a PR guy that has to be paid. There's a marketing guy. There's Talk TV. There's PraiseWorld. There's Street Church and Co. that also have to be paid. So they too can keep. Can you not see how the money going around helps other people keep doing the work they say you love to do? No,
I remember the impact of PraiseWorld Radio.
Let's go there.
Like PraiseWorld Radio single-handedly changed the game.
Big shout out, Tola Money. You are forever an OG.
Forever, like you gave us a platform and stuff.
Us.
If that was a secular platform, I mean, I don't want to put PraiseWorld on the spot, but we're here. That's what we do here, right? If it was a secular platform.
So just so I don't feel like we're putting it on a spot. PraiseWorld Radio has the capacity to be multiple times ginormous.
They can be the biggest Christian radio out of this part of the world.
They have what it takes to be a BET.
Like the potential is
like
there.
I know it's not ideal.
We know
the founders, right?
They know what they're doing.
But you see the funny conundrum. So let me just put that. They are even a good case study.
That's why I say
because
they should permit us.
If the creatives coming to promote on their platform cannot afford to promote on their platform, bear in mind they were trying so hard to create very, very affordable promotional packages.
Yeah.
And you say why? They are a Christian radio. Diesel is not Christian Diesel. They were running Diesel to run a 24-hour radio station. They were running internet. They had staff.
They had staffs.
They were paying rent. So they can create a platform. That, I'm following you. You can go to their Instagram page. You see the thousands of reactions and engagement they get because of the wholesome content they share on their page. Because it helps you. So they have to be kept up. So now the creatives couldn't afford to promote on the platform because there was no market that the Christian creatives could sell to get resources that they can give to the next value chain. So that when they do
this was the perfect one. Yes. We stopped like the circle.
There's a cycle.
It's an ecosystem. For it to be an ecosystem, it has to flow.
Go around.
And now it stops.
So everywhere you stop.
So just because someone is not being paid somewhere, not having enough money, is affecting. PraiseWorld would have been way bigger.
You've stopped the flow.
They have the potential. They have everything to be way bigger. But we're not seeing
ecosystem. You can't see it.
We can't see.
You're so stuck on the Why are they charging this? Why is the artist?
Let me make a very strong statement. This might cause trouble. You can drag or see freely drag. I will give you the rope. I
love dragging. Drag me.
We are so controlled by follow this thought, right? There's something called to be spiritually minded. There's another thing called to be carnally minded. Now, when a lot of believers were arguing about the tithings thing, I told you back then, and I said the problem is they don't understand that they have come under the influence of Mormon, which is the spirit of money. They think the influence of that spirit
is greed.
It's greed, and only when you're wanting more money. No, it's when you only see money in everything.
You don't see what the money is used for.
If you come into a room and you only see money, if you come into
the room and you cannot recognize
and you can't see the spirit of God,
value that the money was being traded for.
Yes. That
means you have reduced human beings to money.
Everything about you. So money is the most valuable thing to you. Hence, you are under the influence of that spirit. Drag me. You are under that influence. So if you look at a believer, and you look at the music, and you look at the impact, and you look at and the first question that came to your mind was like, he must be making money from us. You have to go on 40 days fast. I'm telling you.
Prescribed.
You are under the influence of that spirit.
You have not thought really long and hard.
The Judas. What happened to Judas is happening to you.
What happened to Judas is happening.
He was not able to see the impact. He was not able to see the lives being changed around Jerusalem and all these places. As far as he was concerned, it was about the money. Once for you, it's about the money.
The Bible didn't say he hated
under
Jesus. He didn't hate
the influence
Jesus.
of that spirit. So it goes both ways. Those who are greedy and everything about. So once it's about money for you, if you're doing music just because of money, if you think people do music just because of money, the two of you guys are under the influence of that thing. So while you're afraid that creatives will come to a point where they start being motivated by just the money, and that thing, that spirit, that thing that makes you, I can't describe it. It's because money, you've
I think it speaks more about you than the creative.
It says more about you. That's all I've been trying to say.
That's what you would do with money.
It says more about you. You're projecting. It says more about you than the people. So it's not about them. It's not about the creatives. It's not because you care about creatives and you care about them making heaven or anything. It's just that money is too much for you. You feel like money is more important than human lives and impact. You can't even think about this guy singing, this drummer, or this guy on the stage. You've not looked at the person and thought, how does he go home? Where does he live? What's he eating? How does he clothe? He said, God will take care of him.
God will take care of him.
Let God come and play the drum.
Let God come and play your keyboard.
Because the problem
because after all, James said it clearly. If a guy is hungry, don't tell him the Lord feed you.
If men are not important, if you don't care about this human, then
why do you desperately want to use him?
And if you can't do your service, that means if you cannot function without what he's doing,
then that thing is valuable.
Which is not a problem.
So what do you want? If the thing is not valuable, then don't use the thing. But you see, I know you are truly under the spirit of Mormon because you would rather manipulate the person to give you value you know is important without you giving them value for their own life.
You have gone that one. We have to go and research that spirit.
Witchcraft.
The other witchcraft. That's witchcraft. The one that wants something that's valuable for free. Manipulating people to give valuable things for free. Because if it's not important, that's a dimension of witchcraft.
See, let me not lie. I can be in church. We can clap hands. The Christianity I entered, we used to clap and roll on that tree. What's drum? I don't need no drum.
Bro.
I don't need no drum. I clap those hands.
Jen, let's
sweat.
I'll bring my hand from
why you're apologizing to us every Sunday because we thought that we agreed unspokenly that we have to dress well to come to church. Because that the way we used to wear t-shirt and tank top and knicker and come for service in the hinterland. We go there okay.
Where you eat Guafe?
I've lived in so many places. There are places where you couldn't afford to dress nice.
Yes.
It was village. You tie your wrapper and wear your short knicker and t-shirt and come
must we even do the fellowship in a...
Must we do it in a world-renowned center?
We do open
air that year now.
What I'm saying is, but you don't want that.
Became valuable.
So you are able to pay for the hall.
The hall is important, but the human capital is not.
No, the people on stage. How dare you? Why should the keyboard? Why? Why are you going to play?
Why you pay the keyboardist? Nice. Says a lot about you.
Why should the creatives within this community try to make money? You need that. No graphics. Anytime we're doing that thing, anytime we're doing those our special Sundays and stuff, you need the spoken words, you need the dancers and all that whole thing. They are very important, but no. Once it comes to the conversation, so at the point, he also shows the wickedness and it shows wickedness and it shows how cruel we are. We don't have that humanity, this welfare.
Like if you saw a young boy with this gift, let's say religious politics aside, if you saw a young boy in your neighborhood, you had a younger brother that had a gift that is tradable.
Yeah.
And was looking for what to do with his life. It's a common sense advice. The Bible says, "Here's thou a man diligent in his work."
Yeah.
A young person has a work. They are diligent in it, enough for you to know that it's valuable to you. If you saw that person on the roadside, would you not give that person advice to find ways to make something out of his life? Especially, I went to fix my glasses a few days ago. Normally, when I go to all these island markets, especially Mantilas and Co, I hate all these guys that rush you. Hey, bro, now you buy elastic. That thing annoys me. But for some reason, I had a profound sense of, I mean, it still annoys me, but there was something happened to me the last trip I went. There was a guy that was following us. The guy followed us. And something my said, man, I appreciate this guy's hustle. This guy could decide to do Yahoo.
Facts. He's here under the sun in Lagos.
But he's here under the sun, hot Lagos sun, talking to probably 700 individuals that will insult him, ignore him, including me, tell him how they burn him, because obviously rightfully he's terrorizing me. I don't want to buy anything from you. Leave me alone.
But that's marketing. That's marketing. Sales, man. That's sales.
He's taking his 1,000 no's every day.
Bro.
I'm like,
I mean, from down.
These are guys taking 1,000 no's every day just to get 2, 3, 4 years. To take them to a shop that somebody will not give them. So they will take them to somebody's shop. You will buy something from the shop.
Give them a
and then they can give them a percentage for marketing from them. Because the way the shops are, the main road where the people are far from where the actual good shops are. So people have to be on the road to win customers and pull them all the way to your shop inside the market.
That's raw.
And I'm here looking at this guy and the 5 other guys that tried it. And I'm like, this is value. Bro. And somebody is working hard for.
It is.
And so, why is my first idea not to help them in any way? So there's level 1. Why are you not even thinking? First of all, why is something like that in your vicinity and it's not pricking you?
You're not worried. No, you're not worried about. No, you're not worried.
Some of the things you're praying for, you're a wicked person. You're not doing it.
You're not worried.
Because you have a ministry. You are praying desperately for people to wake up and receive a vision of the Lord in their heart to come and send seed to your ministry, to send seed to your mission, to send seed to your program, to do this. But there are people actively under your wing that you don't even wake up one day and think, how can my platform be useful to this child?
How can I?
How can I?
Because you might not have a platform, but you can have access to someone you know that
like
numbers
whatever
in your
it
phone.
is.
Yeah.
As little as I can share their content, I can pay 5K
and your
tickets.
best idea is to come out
your best
on Twitter,
idea
on social media and say, why they're charging? The other day, they say those that charge are called music artists.
Next, that charge. But you love Elijah level. You're singing a song.
No, it's a prophetic.
It's a prophetic song
that the Lord uses to
minister.
This
needs you to pay tickets so that he can host a concert, so that all of us can come together and enjoy the songs and praise God together.
Why should
it becomes a problem.
Why should he do that? And then we turn around and say the quality of production from this space.
The quality of the videos.
Can you see
more music videos?
Can you see the music videos from
you
this
guys, your mixing
guys?
Is not...
Bro. Don't be mouth now they carry go market. It's a system.
They pay for their streaming services. They pay for their shows.
They pay for their shows.
They pay for advertising. It's so much that you don't even have Christian brands cannot even afford to even say, okay, no, I'll take this shirt and influence.
No, you can't try it.
I mean, some are starting.
No, it's growing, but Compared to if you want to do statistics, you can't just
like on the basis of
and draw it.
It won't even cost you anything.
So because now we're here where you can't even come and say
you're not even supporting. Like
the secular guys they know some artists that if they give them, I mean, we work in this marketing space. If they give the person that endorsement and say
they know what they will do with the person.
Just tell them to buy this pink something and watch it blow up. Now we're here. We have not even raised. We've not even raised people to the point that we can say.
I'm about to go because it's not like how many of you can really use it. I say, have you played?
We have not even raised people to the point. We've not even raised people to the point where because now Afro beats to the world and all this whole move. It was a deliberate move.
I was saying something to them. Maybe I should not even say it. I will say it first, then we'll decide if we want to cut it.
Yes.
I was saying something to the guys off the air. Christian creatives, for example, should not be hungry. Like, I'm not saying you should be rich. I'm not saying Maserati level. That's balling. That's another level. Yeah. And the truth is, the average, we are fully actively in the community. Trust me, majority of people in the community don't even have those kind of aspirations. They just want to have enough to take care of their family and keep loving God and doing the work. Like they just want money to do the work. You have to. So first of all, you that runs your mouth every time, I'm going somewhere. You have to realize that these are people that are running 9 to 5s and using their salary that
how much is their salary? People that they are arguing that they should raise they are
arguing for their minimum wage.
Their minimum wage,
and out of it, they are cutting it for sessions. This podcast is being hosted out of our salaries and earnings and other stuff we're doing on the side. 100%, right? Why am I saying this?
As a person that wants to use money to go and buy Maserati.
I was telling you, I said, the Christian economy or market or audience, one church alone is enough to settle a creative for life.
Yeah.
And then speaking to the issue of gathered vessels. So vessels, for example, can be investment deals, partnerships, other things that infrastructure that help you move whatever substance you're providing. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, you know how difficult this is now makes it where every time they come online and the supposed market is always fighting about whether we should be a market or not.
There is no market. You can't call that a market.
It's just people.
That's a war zone. That's a war zone. It's not, you can't classify that
because some of the opportunities we are complaining we don't even have.
Is waking up every day.
How are those opportunities to come when everybody that is supposed to be rallying around the thing spends most of their time fighting against each other for the thing?
And then you're having people in influence also.
And then everybody on the other side, the secular energy, just watching and like, I don't understand. Like, where is the problem?
Yeah,
this person is pushing this agenda. They can't, like, every time it's like unbelievers can clearly see.
Anytime we interact with them.
Unbelievers can clearly see agenda farther than they have, like, fast. They see agenda faster than the average Christian.
These guys are very insightful.
They are even so worried for what your potential, because they know what if you succeed.
Yes, their worry is the day
they are worried that if the day you ever succeed, you will reduce my market.
Definitely. So
the next question is, okay, is either I fight you or find a way to buy you into you so that whatever happens, I win.
Yes. So
now I even get into an era where investors are no more even really afraid about urban or Christian creatives anymore because if these people are tenacious enough to last this long on their own.
They are now coming out. Why did you bring this on air? They are now... the people from the other side are now seeing the value here.
And they are coming.
And they are coming.
And they are taking your guys.
These conversations are on.
They're already ongoing.
They are ongoing. They are looking at what we call Afro gospel and all these sounds that we are rejecting while we're here debating and arguing.
People are seeing
there are people from the other side who are seeing the value and are coming here and
they are saying, how can we get it?
And they are saying, there's something here. We can see potential here.
How do we get it?
We can see the numbers. How do we get involved
What's
to push
the plan?
it?
How do we
For
push
them,
it?
it's not gender.
No, it's money.
It's that they look at it and they're saying that there's an economic angle.
It's money now. There are many of you. I mean, most of the things we are doing right now, thousands of you will not attend.
Exactly.
But you attend your own. That's money for us.
Exactly. So they're saying it. Now, imagine if, which takes me to my own angle, which anytime we have these conversations, people always focus on the institution of the church.
No.
And me, I'm not big on that. I grew up in the church, so I know what the church can do and what the church cannot do.
Because you're about to lead me to where I brought that thing up.
I know what the church can do and I know what the church cannot do. I'm talking of individuals within the system because we've not been taught this mindset. We can't spot a young guy in the church because we have these grass to grace stories on the street. How someone sees Lil Wayne sees Nicki Minaj rapping in Queens.
Are we feeding here now? Yeah.
How Lil Wayne sees Nicki Minaj rapping in Queens on the staircase or so. And then it's like, this girl has potentials. Takes her into Cash Money, Young Money. And then today, we all know who Nicki Minaj is, right? We have those stories. Where are our own stories? So the boy in the church who is singing, why is the man who is in church, like why are believers who are able to make something? But because we're not seeing the systems that he's asking himself. Music is expensive. Like creativity is expensive.
It is expensive, man.
Movies. Because when we talk creativity, we're not just talking music alone. We're talking movies, media, podcasts. Like we need more talk shows. Most of these podcasts that are trending every 2 days, or with those dumb takes. Trending every day. Someone is bankrolling those things. If we come to a point, but because we've refused to see the economic angle, people are not motivated. So a lot of believers are not motivated to bankroll it.
It's money. They used to pluck money from tree.
So you are not bankrolling it. So you are not bankrolling it, and you are not bankrolling it. You are using your mouth to spoil.
So this is where because one of the conversation that the thing led to was now like because somebody in the room was like, but which is this thing you literally talked on like, but we can't always put it on church. And I was like, first of all, please, if you're watching this podcast, first things first, we are the church.
We.
It's not you guys.
The people.
We are here for us. We are talking about ourselves.
We are part of the people.
We are part of the people.
We're not separating ourselves.
2, never ever assume that anything we're saying here is, I will tell you what we expect of the church. It is our honest, objective, professional opinion that the church cannot and should not be doing everything. Now, in the cases where you have, because there are some churches, for example, where the pastor is a creative. So in those cases, creativity. So in those cases, it's easy to find them move those kind of agenda because it's a personal thing too for them. They've by God's grace now built a system that enables them to harness the resources they have.
Yeah.
But here's me I'm saying that you want that is the church. I'm saying, dear church leader, dear spiritual space leader, wherever you are. First of all, it is okay to not have all the answers.
Yeah.
You don't have to have answers for everything.
You ain't got the answers, sway.
That's 1. 2, you don't have to be the one providing all the solutions because sometimes too, some reaction might just be let's just shut it down so that they stop stressing us with the burden of doing it.
They're professionals.
All I'm asking is that you're a very powerful tool. Don't use your voice to discourage the people in your systems, in your ministries, in your churches that are built and wired to do the needed thing that the kingdom requires.
For real.
Because a lot of these Twitter Christians that are running their mouth on the streets, everybody, as much as a lot of you are not as original thought thinking as you think you are. Everybody is not voicing ideology of their pastor, their mentor somewhere.
It's a community.
So mentors, pastors, try and at least maybe have solid conversations with the creatives. Try to even understand. I remember having conversations with, top people and people will not be, because there's also that other angle. Okay, let's say we do this thing, but won't this, especially these, creative guys, won't they start misbehaving? And I asked one day, I said, Madam, fairly speaking, which Afro gospel artist have you heard has a scandal since the history of Afro gospel? Like we said, we are passionate about fostering conversations and building structures that help create a sustainable and thriving Christian creative industry and ecosystem that has mainstream impact.
That's what we want.
Like we're talking, yes, we are blessed. We are grateful to God for revival. Like we are grateful to God for the chants and everything breaking out.
It's too much of a big word. That has impact on humanity. Everyone alive. In the 80s, 90s knew who Michael Jackson was. That's the kind of thing.
Like we're talking impact that you don't have to be a believer to enjoy alone. We're talking the kind of impact that makes you they can't lock you out of certain rooms because of how impactful you are.
Yeah.
The kind of impact where certain laws cannot just be speedily passed into law because you must consult certain stakeholders. Exactly. He says who has seen a virtuous woman who has seen someone like this. They now need to talk about her husband. Her
husband is in the
city gate. City gate is where they discuss policies. We are supposed to be at the city gate. Guess what? Just like your family meeting where the firstborn that is not well to do doesn't have mouth, but the lastborn that is balling is the firstborn. That's how, if you're not influential in culture, you don't have mouth in the city gate.
You can't say anything. They'll bring every flag that they want to bring.
They don't have you have to understand. Culture and society don't have a problem with you being Superman in your space. No. You can be the biggest minister in Christian. They don't have
inside church. You're a minister.
The Christians all around the world bullying.
It's only those that your speaker from your church is affecting.
Once you want to start cutting outside of that, that's where attention comes. So, and the truth is, that's where Jesus said, to the farthest ends of the world, the farthest ends of the earth. So we're trusting God that He will help us through this podcast and through the other things we're doing around this to continue to foster these conversations, to educate the creatives, educate the leaderships, educate partners, educate stakeholders, educate even the community, the people, so that we can hopefully find some form of unity. At least let our faith be the binding factor.
Let's find
our faith be the uniting ground.
Because if we're not able to achieve this, I think
we'll keep on complaining about all the agenda flying.
The complaint is even small. Well, I feel like we're going to witness a generation where the impact will be more, because we're dealing with a generation that has been raised on entertainment, media, and music, and all these things. If we don't actively build a system that empowers our own voices, that's sustainable, that's not relying on somebody. That's not relying on. I just want to dash you money. Yeah, that's not like something that somebody just comes to dash you money. No. Even non-profit organizations have active partners
for raising billions,
for raising money to do what they need to do. Now we're having, and then if we're going to put this agenda and commit something as huge as this, imagine the impact of music, media. I'm talking media. I'm even talking news stations. There have been arguments of fake news in the last couple of years. What if we had legit
news station? I mean,
news station.
There were some that came up the other time. It's not something.
It's not something. All this something behind your house that is just you and some church members that are doing. Nobody wants that thing. Something that when they did their own, we saw it. It was out there. Something that they can see, right? Because I feel like if we don't do that, it will not be good for us to commit it to some. No disrespect to the guys, but to some young men who are just trying to find their path in life, who have to struggle through 9-to-5s, hustle and something, to now use the small remaining change.
I mean, we'll do what needs to be done.
Yeah, they'll still do what needs to be done, but imagine, like I said, it's a trade war. It's an economic value war. It's a value war. You're fighting organizations. You're going against industries. And here you are coming in as a freelancer, as a part-time freelancer. We can't commit this agenda, this assignment to the hands of freelancers. So for me, I feel like this is our submission. That by building an ecosystem, by building an economic system, that thing we keep echoing, kingdom agenda, kingdom economy,
where value flows.
So every generation comes in, we can now start saying, okay, we can predict and say, the next generation of young people in the teenage church and the youth church will now know that, okay, if you can sing, if you can handle the camera, if you're a good writer, if you can produce movies, if you have media, if you're a media personality,
platforms, companies,
yes, there are companies that can now bring you in to push kingdom agenda,
being authentic in kingdom agenda,
and then you are making a living. You don't have to go all the way somewhere else, because we'll just sit here and complain about the next Hollywood. And
see, let me say this: we have guys. Even ourselves, we've had to do it at some point. You sit down, you're working in a company where you have to do a brief. And the brief requires you to create branding for alcohol brands.
I mean, that's my story, man. I worked in that space for years.
or like guys are
remember,
having to.
No, let me even give this example. I remember working on one of those brands a couple of some years ago, and it was at the height of that prayer season. Like
Bro,
it was
like you're
very,
coming out of
it was
prayer
very
fasting
hard. Walking in, I was fasting and sitting down.
We need
and
ideas
then
for
we were
this.
doing ideas, and at a point I was just vomiting the ideas, and I was just coming up. The campaign. We'll do this. We'll do that, and then I just heard a voice. What are you doing? And I stopped. Thank God it was an online, meeting, and I stopped and I was like, "Do you realize?" Because the brief was to get new drinkers, like people who were just turning 18.
How do we get new 18-year-olds to start taking up an alcoholic brand?
And then I was here coming up with
our target audience.
And I asked and then I just heard what
that we are trying to get off myself.
I said, bro, do you realize you serve in the youth church and these are the same guys you are trying to get saved every day? Like, it make sense. You're fighting yourself. And I paused. And luckily, thank God I stepped out of that industry, and it's been a long time since I've worked on a brand like that.
Now as God give you a
God, bro, I collect a guy.
No.
There was an instruction to.
One Twitter warrior now say you should leave. First of all,
I left, bro. I left. And I collected.
I heard people saying things like, you should be willing to starve your family.
If I want to starve, you're not the one that will tell me.
It's not you now. Are you God? I don't want to send you a message. What's your problem?
If I want to starve, you won't be the one to tell me to starve.
And even God doesn't speak like that. The last prophet that was hungry, they sent her food. Guy, what kind of badly behaved Christian are you, man?
Where are you from?
When the food finished, they say, you're going to meet the woman in the city that will give you the next one. Like, come on, you guys, come on.
What do you worry about people food, though? Each one when they do like this.
Person tired, they enter depression, God tell her, may he go sleep. Like, why, you guys are too heartless for the God we say we serve.
They say you should eat again.
Say eat again. If food finish, say, okay, go and meet a woman. They went from miraculous to system again.
Bro.
They still sent him to a woman. Oh, they sent him from cave where miraculous, or they say, you know what, just go.
So another miraculous.
So that you can help another woman.
A miraculous
set up a system.
A system.
How many people was that woman able to feed since that miracle?
Definitely.
In the middle of that family. See,
definitely. So we're done here. I hope we have done our submissions. I know you are preparing your hot takes in the comment sections. Please fire on.
We have
shoot.
Time.
The comment section is open. Fight. But
keep it respectful.
Keep it civil. Keep it civil. I know you have your hot takes. I know there are things we say there that you want to respond.
Feel free to start your own podcast too.
Feel free to say it. This mic is not expensive. Fire. Fire on. For real. We want the conversations, but what we are going to say is this podcast, we are out here to respond and to keep these conversations. We're not going to stand by and allow people control the narratives. So, see ya. May the something man win. May
the best man win.